So I bought a new fish today, and I thought I would just make a video about it because I haven't talked about my fish for a long time. I had two platies and uh, four swordtails. The one that didn't seem to eat or seemed to get attacked by that male swordtail, I put in a separate tank. But that died probably about a month before Christmas. I didn't say anything, but yeah, I only had that for about 3 months. But it looked miserable. It looked very unhappy. It looked like it didn't want to be a fish. And yeah, it kind of reminded of me of me. That fish reminded me of me. It reminded me of me. No, it reminded it. It reminded it of me. Is it me of me or me? I don't know. But yeah, it ended up dying because I think it didn't want to be a fish. Likewise, I don't want to be a human, so that's why I related to it. But yeah, it died. And then I just like reduced instead of like putting more fish in there. I thought because it's very cold, it's going to be a lot more expensive to heat in the January, and I'm not even going to be down in the living room that much. I'm when it's very very cold, I prefer to just stay in bed, and if I'm just staying in bed, then I'm not really enjoying a fish tank. So I thought I would just half the water rather than get more fish. And yeah, I did. And then around Christmas time, I noticed that there was some babies. I counted about 5 or 6 at the same time, but they would all hide and move, and then I'd see more, and I didn't know if I was looking at the same ones, just in a different position, or if they're very, very hard to see when they're tiny. But I reckon there was about 5 to 9 in there. No, maybe more than that. Might have been 6 to 9. There would have been 6 to 9 in there. But I noticed when I left, just before I left to go to Butlins, I didn't see any. They were really, really hard to find. And then when I came back, I did see some. I saw about 3, so I know they'd survived. And then again, when I came back, on the second run of Butlins, I realised I could only see one, and I only saw one for a very, very long time. And then I might have seen 2 others. I don't know. I don't know really when, but it felt like that whole batch died. But a month later, there was another batch. So I believe that there was 2 pregnancies because one of them looked quite big, and all the rest looked really, really tiny. So I realised that they weren't surviving in the big tank because they were getting eaten by the other fish. One of the male platy, the one that was I swear it was a female platy for the first 6 months, and it had a sex change, and it looked like a male, acted like a male, was bigger like a male, but it never produced any babies, even though it was with 12 platies at one point. But yeah, a lot of those ones died. Most of them died when they were only like sort of half size. I don't really know why, but yeah, eventually there was only 2 left, and they were very strong. One of them is still alive now, but it's got a lot of white on its head, and it's dying basically. It's not going to last. It's probably not going to last a week. It's going to die in the next few days. When they start getting old, they start having like this white head. It's almost like growing hair, growing grey hair or something. But yeah, it's going to die. And so when I went to the shop, I saw that I had a choice because there's one molly that's yellow and all the rest are orange, so I was thinking maybe I should go for a yellow swordfish, and I wanted to go for a yellow swordfish, but the one that they had was perfect, but there was also a yellow male swordfish, no, not swordfish, swordtail. There was a yellow swordtail, but there was also a yellow male, which looked really nice, and I would have got the pair because I wouldn't have wanted to separate the pair. But then if I would have taken the pair, it would mean that I would have 3 females and 2 males, and that's not really good odds because the males are going to get aggressive and fight, so you really need to have like 3 on each. But there was also a white swordtail, which was thinking that was good, but I'd like the yellow female swordtail and a white female swordtail, and then the male yellow swordtail, so that way there would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, no, there'll be 4 females and 2 males, which is a better balance. Plus the platy, I'm not going to count the platy because I know it's going to die in the next week or 2. But yeah, that sounded like more like a balance. But because the first batch I think went, I don't know what happened with the babies of the first batch, but I think most of them have died. But I know after Christmas there was a second batch. It was 4 weeks later, so it was in January, end of January, there was a second batch, and I don't know how many babies there were there, but I managed to actually, because I know that the big tank, they eat the babies, so I've managed to take five ones that looked very, very small and one that looked very, very big. Well, not very big, but it looked twice the size of the other ones, and I've put them all in the smaller one now. And it's strange because now that I've put them in the smaller one, I'm feeling like either they're eating a lot better in this one, or because they're not hiding as much, and the small tank has got all the female guppies, and the big tank has got the male guppies. You have to keep the male and female separate guppies because they breed too easily, and the female ones get pregnant, and after they've had like 3 pregnancies they die, and then that just creates this sort of uneven level between there's more male. It make it so that there's more males than females, and then it just turns into it's you can't have them together. Basically, you need to have them separate unless it's in the wild. But yeah, so I have managed to collect and put 5. 6 actually, 5 little ones, and then one that was from Christmas. But yeah, now that in the last few days I've noticed that they've been eating much better, and they all look a similar kind of size now. I mean, one's definitely a little bit bigger, but the other 2 don't look that. So and now I'm like confused. Was this from the first pregnancy, or was this from the second one? And maybe they just weren't eating properly because they were afraid of the others or something. I don't know. But I know that I've got 6 of them, and therefore when I was choosing, should I go for the swordtails? I do want the swordtails, but then I'm thinking, if I've already got 6 growing in the tank, and 6 adults and then 6 babies as well, I don't really know if I really want another couple, because that's going to give me way more fish than I actually want. And then I went to the second fish shop. There's 2 that are kind of within cycle distance of me. And they had like this really big pregnant platy, and I thought, I'm going to go for the pregnant platy, because so long as the pregnancy is successful, then I just have 1 fish to buy, and then a whole bunch of babies. And technically the babies are good, but they start off very, very small, and half of them will probably die before they get to a full size, but that's kind of perfect because I don't want too many fish. So yeah, instead of going for 3 yellow-tailed 4 swordfish, one of them kind of whitish, I went for a pregnant platy. So that is the story of the updated story of my fish.